Hey guys, Brian and Aaron here from 5 to Go. Today we are talking about myths about RVing. And what we mean by myths are these are things that we hear all the time from people of all walks of life, whether they're starting to look at RVs or they've been RVing for a long time. And it's things that might be true, or things that might not be true, and we're going to talk about why they may or may not be true. So first up is one that we ran into a lot when we started looking at RVs 5 years ago.
And if you've been following along since then, you know that we started out in a travel trailer. And so we were looking for a travel trailer that was under 30 feet because somewhere something told me that I had to be under 30 feet to be able to visit national parks and some state parks and stuff that we wanted to experience.
Guess what?
Not true.
We had a 38-foot trailer. We've been to 34 national parks with that trailer and this 38-foot motorhome.
Yep.
And who knows how many monuments and historical sites and battlefields and grasslands and forests. And, you know, it's the 30-foot limit is if you want to be inside most of the parks, and I'm talking like big national parks like Yellowstone, which is right up here. Grand Tetons are right here.
Yeah.
But Grand Tetons, I think they had a couple, they had 3 campgrounds with full hookups.
Yep.
And I think those sizes went up a bit. I know one of them was a max of 30 that we drove by.
Right.
And so the 30-foot thing is relevant.
It is, absolutely.
But there's campgrounds everywhere.
Yes, and you can park right outside, be close to a grocery store, have cell service.
Cell service, yeah.
And still be able to go in and experience the national parks.
Now, have we actually talked about, you know, getting, not for full-time living, but we've talked about getting like a small Class C, maybe later on just Aaron and I, and going and camping in some of these places just for a different experience, like the actual living in a national park for a few days experience. But again, cell service is a big issue.
Right.
We have Starlink now, so it's not as big of an issue. But the length limit is a reality, and my theory on that is that these national parks have campgrounds, or they have had campgrounds for dozens and dozens and dozens of years. Like, what is it, Yellowstone's 150
years old this year. Yeah, celebrating.
So they've had campgrounds almost that entire time probably, but those were tent campgrounds.
Right.
So I think they went through and they just converted tent sites into RV sites.
Right.
So you used to be able to like put a tent and have your truck or your car or whatever. So now you just put a 30-foot RV in there and you maybe have a water hookup, and that's those campgrounds.
Well, and something to think about too is the site might be huge and you can fit a 43-foot in there, but the roads to get in there are super tight and kind of unmaneuverable, not maneuverable if you are large. And so I think that is a big concern too, because you might say, oh, it's a 60-foot site, I can absolutely get in there, but you can't make the turn to get in there and to back up into the spot. So something to think about too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did not think about that. Now, to be fair, for Yellowstone specifically, since we were just there 2 days ago, the campground that's up north hopefully didn't get destroyed by the flooding or impacted by the flooding, but the one that they have all the way up north, like north of Mammoth Hot Springs near the north entrance, they do have spaces for larger rigs, but it's a first come first served campground. So your chances of getting into there, depending on the season, I don't know. So big picture here, is a 30-foot RV, or should you limit yourself to a 30-foot RV? No, not at all.
You can absolutely go and do everything you want to do in a bigger rig and be more comfortable if that is what you're looking for.
Yes. Why limit yourself to a 30-foot RV when you can be more comfortable all the time in a larger RV and just have to make some concessions when you're visiting those parks for, you know, a small number of days a year? Right. Okay, myth number 2 is one we hear a lot on our Discord server, which is 5go.com/Discord.
Join us there.
Lots
Come on,
of chat.
let's talk.
Big free chat. It's a couple thousand people in there. We're all RVers. We're all having fun and learning a lot from each other.
Absolutely.
And one question we see a lot is, and some people haven't even started RVing yet, and they're like, is getting an RV even worth it? Because when I look at all the campgrounds and state parks around me, there's no availability anytime I would be able to camp. So, myth number 2 is,
kind of a myth.
Are campsites even available? Like, are there too many of us? Are we filling everything up?
In some places, yes.
Yeah.
But in most places,
If you go to Google right now and just pick a place in the country
Anywhere.
and you just type in campground and
Campsite.
see the results.
RV resort.
There are way more campgrounds than you realize until you start RVing and looking and looking. It's crazy. I had no idea.
I have some asterisks with this.
Asterisks?
Asterisks. I don't know what the plural is.
We're just making up words.
We're just
in this
making up words
episode.
today. If you only like to stay in the fancy resorts that have all the amenities and everything you could ever need and are super expensive, I know some of you.
Y'all are. You're right.
You're
Lucy?
out there.
Yeah, you're right
Lucy?
there. Yeah.
Who's Lucy?
I don't know. Lucy
stays where we stay. Anyway.
Oh, is it Diane?
I don't know. You're so crazy. Okay, if those are the places you want to stay, like the fancy resorts that are like right near the city or event or
on a
attraction
river,
that
on
you
a
want to
beach.
see, you need to be booking those now for next summer.
Yep.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
If you are just trying to get from point A to point B and need to stop somewhere in between, somewhere off the highway,
Like Salina, Kansas, maybe?
maybe like Salina, Kansas. There's a KOA there, and
There's
it's
KOA
quite
there. It's great,
lovely
yeah.
for a night or two.
Yeah.
I can call those places while we are on our way to those places, and more often than not can get a campground for the night, for 3 nights, for a week.
Yeah.
If you're going somewhere that is not as popular as, say, like Destin, Florida,
Yeah, so Destin, for spring break, you better have booked that in like 2021
Yeah, right.
or 2020.
Yeah.
Like, that's gone. If you want to get into Bahia Honda State Park down in the Keys, their booking window is 18 months, and there are people that set
Done.
alerts for that 18-month window
Yep.
for a year and a half ahead.
Yep.
So there are definitely places and times. Because Florida during the winter, we're going to
busy.
be there.
Yep.
Everybody else is going to be there.
Yep, and
It's busy.
I'm booked out through February, so yes.
Thank you, Thousand Trails.
Yeah, right. So it's a this is kind of like a double-edged myth, not myth. So
This one is right in the middle.
if you know that you want to go somewhere and it's a popular place that other people want to go, make your reservations now. If you're just going someplace because your grandma lives there and it's not the most, exciting place that everybody else wants to go, you can probably make a reservation a couple weeks ahead of time or on your way there.
And
It just depends.
And widen your search a little bit.
Yeah.
So one place that we've been to and we're going back to again soon is Moab. Moab gets extremely busy for spring break and over the summer.
Well,
because
and
there's
if you go the
arches,
week
there's
before
canyons,
Jeep Week.
Jeep Week, yeah. So Jeep Week is March, early April, somewhere in there.
Yeah, like
we
the
were
first
there.
week of April. We were there the
right
week
near it.
before.
So it gets extremely busy, and there are actually a small number of campgrounds.
Yeah, there are.
There's also Arches National Park. There's Dead Horse State Park, which is our favorite in all of
my
Utah.
gosh.
There's Canyonlands.
Canyonlands.
There's Moab. There's all of the off-roading that we bought a Jeep specifically for.
Right.
So it is an extremely popular place, but it is absolutely surrounded by BLM and open land and places you can boondock. So do a little bit of research. See if boondocking is something you might be comfortable with. We think, especially in a motorhome, it is a fantastic way. Yeah, motorhome's easy mode, especially for 2 or 3 nights. I think 3 nights, 4 nights is kind of our sweet spot
Right.
for boondocking. It's going to depend a lot on weather, whether you have an onboard generator, stuff like that. So there's more to it. But just because an area is completely full because you're going to a place that's really popular,
Doesn't mean there isn't a place
it
to
doesn't
camp.
mean you can't stay there. Same
Right.
around Glacier. Glacier is extremely expensive to camp around, but everywhere around Flathead Lake, there's forest land everywhere. There's BLM everywhere. It's everywhere.
Not to, beat a dead horse, but Discord, our Discord channel, we have an entire boondocking
Yeah.
channel
Yeah.
where our people that are in there that boondock all the time and never stay in a campground can answer your questions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
come
More
on
than
in.
likely, I will be paging Alicia because she is the
Yes,
boondocking
Alicia
superstar.
is our boondocking superstar. She's one of our road runners.
So, myth number 2. Are there campsites available
Yes.
anywhere? Yes and no.
And no.
Depends heavily on when and where.
Know how you travel and what you want to do, and that'll determine when you need to make your reservations.
Yep.
Myth number 3. I've seen a lot of TikToks and shorts about this.
And we get comments about
And we get comments about it all the time. So I'm just going to lay out our opinion, just the right opinion. We get a thing all the time saying that what we do is not camping. But I am staying in a campground. in a recreational vehicle.
We have no illusions. We're not sleeping in a tent
Yes.
on the ground because we're too old for that.
Okay. It's not tent camping. We're not sleeping under the stars.
Nope.
Yes, we have Netflix and an air fryer.
And air conditioning.
And air conditioning. But it is still camping. So whether you are camping under the stars in a tent or whatever, or you are staying in the fanciest $2.5 million RV, it's still camping.
This is not $2.5 million, by the way.
Get off your high horse. We're all camping. We're all happy to be together. Okay? I'm talking to you.
So, myth number 3, is RVing camping?
Yes.
Yes, it is. All right, myth number 4, RVing is a way to travel while saving money. I'm going to tell you all right now, with the way gas prices have been, that's a big fat no.
Yeah.
But it's also yes.
Depending on how you travel, how you move around the country.
Where you're going, why, for
Right.
how long. Like RVing for long-term travel is definitely a way to save money versus paying for hotels or
Right.
Airbnbs or anything like that. If you're moving long distances frequently and doing short stops like we've been doing since March,
Right.
we are not saving
We are
money,
not
man.
saving
Not
money.
at all.
But we're seeing beautiful things, so.
Yeah, yeah. But we have some friends who are they like Disney and they come down to Florida a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For them, because they have a larger family, they have 4 kids.
Mm-hmm.
It is way cheaper for them to bring their RV all the way down to Florida, even paying gas.
Yep.
And staying in a campground because you can get like a month or a week or month rates, which
Mm-hmm.
is discounted overnightly, and they can stay near Disney and go to Disney and do everything they want to do for way cheaper than getting hotels.
Or a house or anything like that. Yeah.
Because once you get to, 2 parents and 2 kids, it's easy. You can go to any hotel, no problem.
Yeah.
As soon as you have that 3rd kid,
Or the 4th kid.
Or the fourth
5th
kid,
kid.
yeah.
Or whatever you want to do.
now you're in 2 hotel room territory,
Yep.
and everything gets way more expensive. RVing really is a great way to save money if you're strategic about it.
Right. But just buying an RV, maintaining an RV,
It's not cheap.
traveling around the country to see stuff, it's not the cheapest
Yeah.
way of life
Now,
or
if
travel.
you're really, really good at budgeting and
Yeah.
really good at compromising, and you're a fix-it person and you can do things yourself,
Absolutely.
you can definitely save money. If you boondock a lot, like
Mm-hmm.
again, we mentioned Alicia a little while ago, her and her family, they boondock almost exclusively.
Right.
So they're not paying any money for campgrounds. You still have to pay for gas, maintenance, insurance, food, all of that stuff, but they're not paying nightly rates to stay anywhere. So there are ways to make it cheap,
Mm-hmm.
and there are ways to full-time and have it be cheaper than
Than
living in a house.
Yep.
But it takes a lot more effort than you might initially think.
Right.
Like,
so,
it's not buying an RV and either a truck to tow it or a vehicle to pull behind a motorhome. It's not easy mode. It's not this secret button that you press
And everything becomes
and
magically
everything becomes
easy.
cheaper and easier. It actually becomes a lot harder,
Uh-huh.
and your life becomes more logistical than you ever thought possible.
Absolutely.
So, myth number 4, is RVing a way to travel and save money?
No.
Yes, sort of,
Okay.
but no.
Yeah.
Okay, for our final myth number 5.
It's too hard to RV because.
Yeah.
Anything
so a lot
that
of
you
a
might
lot of
have.
people will say, like, they'll hear what we do.
Mhm.
They'll hear about full-time RVing, and they're like, "Oh man, I could never do that." Like,
Because of X, Y, Z, T, and Q.
yeah, we hear so many reasons that you could never either RV for a long extended vacation
Mm-hmm.
or especially for full-time. Can anybody do it? Sure.
Sure.
Like, logistically, legally, financially,
Yeah.
you could, if you really want to do it, you could figure it out.
Yep.
I think there's 2 big ones that really put a pause for people.
Yep.
It's having to get rid of your stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? You either have to figure out what to do with your house and just let it sit empty or rent it out or do something with that.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us sell all of that.
Right.
So you have to kind of get rid of your stuff and downsize and make your life way more simple because everything has to fit in here. Or, like, storage units are really expensive.
97% of it has to fit in there.
Yeah, storage units are an option, but they're very expensive.
Yep.
And so number 1 is people don't think they can do it because of their stuff.
Right.
Number 2 is people don't think they could do it because they have children.
Have children. Yeah.
We have 3.
We have 3.
We've been we're coming up on 5 years now.
Yeah, we started with, for those of you who are new, when we started, we had a 20-month-old,
Ben,
a 3-year-old,
Brooke,
and an 8-year-old.
Tara.
Yes. And
they are now 13, 8, and 6.
Yes. And the way that we have traveled and done things has changed. Having toddlers and now having a teenager.
I think it's way easier now.
Oh, it's totally easier. But some things were easier because they were smaller. Yeah. They had smaller clothes. They didn't need as much space to sleep and live.
That's why we're shopping for a new RV right now.
Yep.
We got into RVing. This is kind of on a personal note, because life is precious and tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Right.
So we both love to travel. Like the first time we met, we stayed up all night talking about travel and the future and kids and all that, and it was an immediate thing that we related on.
Right.
So it's been very important to us for our entire lives together, our entire marriage, becoming parents. We wanted to prioritize travel and showing our kids things because we felt growing up we didn't get to travel as much as we wanted to. So now we've taken our kids. I was a military brat, but we didn't go anywhere.
We went lots of places, so it's been fun showing the kids those places.
So our kids have now been to all 48 states.
Yep, lower.
They've been to Canada, and they're going to go more places, and we think that that's very important. So if travel is important to you, you can make it work.
You can make it work.
There are an infinite number of excuses.
Yeah.
I have excuses for not wanting to do things and for not getting into RVing in the first place and for not wanting to change rigs, and there's excuses for everything. Yeah. We all have them.
The sun is attacking me.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Her excuse for huddling over here is the sun is attacking her. It is about to get very hot. But there's an infinite number of excuses. But if it's something that is important to you and it's something you think that you and your family will love and
enjoy,
benefit from, and it absolutely will.
Yep. And if you have questions about it, internal temperature too high, allow it to cool.
Okay, camera overheated. The sun caught up to us.
It did.
So as I was saying, if you want to prioritize travel and you think an RV life, either shorter term trips or long-term, full-time, I think it's worth it.
I think so.
Absolutely worth it. So myth number 5, I could never do this because X. I don't think it's true.
Yeah.
I think if you really want to do it, you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah, it's totally fine. We actually, speaking to that, we have met some people that started full-time living, and 6 months later they were back in the house.
Yep.
So if you figure out that it's not for you, it's fine. You don't have to stay full-time your entire life.
No.
Like, we won't. At some point, we won't be in an RV. Who knows when? I don't know. But it's not something you have to stick with if you give it a shot. Yeah. You'll never know unless you try. Okay, so those are our top 5 myths. We're going to do a couple more really short ones as shorts, so keep an eye out for those. Like we mentioned a lot in this video, Discord is a great place.
Yep, to debunk your myths.
Yep, so 5togo.com/Discord will get you onto our Discord server. Like I said before, it is a totally free chat platform. We have a bunch of different channels in there for a bunch of different discussions. We have a couple thousand people in there. Some of them don't have RVs, some of them have been full-timing for longer than us. So there's different levels of experience and different levels of knowledge, people with different types of RVs, people that camp different ways, so it's a fantastic resource. We love that so many people have joined us in there, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own, which I like.
I like it too. And if you didn't see, whenever this video goes up, we just recently got to 100,000 subscribers, so thank you for subscribing and watching. And if you haven't subscribed, why not?
Yeah, you're missing out. 100,000, 103,000 other people have said you should.
Yeah, so go ahead and subscribe, and then you can see when all the videos pop up.
Yeah. And we're shopping for a new one of these.
We are, which means we're going to have to sell this one and find a new one.
Yeah. Keep an eye out for videos all about shopping for a new motorhome, the stuff we're looking for, how to shop for a motorhome.
Yep.
Or just an RV in general.
Especially when you're on the road and moving every couple days.
It's an interesting set of logistical nightmares.
Yes, but fun all along.
Yep, so keep an eye out for those videos, and like she said, make sure you're subscribed so you see them, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.